text a friend, call your friend, baby. We live. Let's go. Welcome to the forum, baby. Let's go. Bring all of your friends and let's get up. I know you ain't been touched enough. Yeah. I know you ain't the only one. FAMU 25, 24, what up? Bring all of your friends and let's Yo, Julie Loosekid, FAMU official. Lucid Jam, Show 105.3 to be
here. I'm your host. My name is Kiosie Abraham. I am a third-year political science education major hailing from Broward County, Florida. You'll catch me. I'm also an LLC peer mentor. You'll find me in the CEC almost every other day. I'm just going to pass it over to the Dean, Dean Watson, for a welcoming.
Well, good afternoon, Kiosie, and welcome, College of Education, to our outstanding second forum of the semester. We are in the greatest place on earth because we are at FAMU in the College of Education, where we are ranked 104 in the U.S. News and World Report rankings. We went up 13 points from our original ranking last year, and that includes the number of degrees we award, the time in which you award the degree, so we want you out in 4 years or less, and the number of research dollars that you are invested in, as well as your social mobility index. How quickly can you graduate from college and earn money and then give back to the university? As you know, we have a starting salary and an average salary for your first year out of school at $45,000. We just received an email today from a district who is looking for our graduates and start them at $47,000 a year for a 9-month contract. The money is out there. The world knows that teachers are important. The world knows that education is important, and we need you, scholars. We need you. We are so excited that you are striking with us. We're so excited about this fall semester. I welcome you, and I look forward to sharing information that impacts you that the state has passed down regarding a new House bill. So this is a very informative session. This is a very thought-provoking session, and will help you as you prepare for your future. I do want to take time to thank our faculty and staff who are always supportive and always here for you. I want to thank our advisors, our department chairs, our Associate Dean, Dr. Price, and especially Ms. Bryant and Dr. Shakir, who put this together every time. We had the sounds of DJ Loosekid, and that comes with a lot of preparation and planning. So you all, when you see everyone in the hallway or on your Canvas shell or in another meeting, please tell them hello. I also want to give a shout to the PDK group, Pi Delta Kappa, who were in the middle of the Gore Education Complex today, and who were providing donuts and coffee. We were so excited. I had my grapefruit and my boiled eggs. It wasn't as exciting, but the love that they shared in the Gore Education Complex was amazing. So we look forward to more ways to engage with you, and we look forward to having an awesome and outstanding fall semester. Thank you, everybody. And Kiosie, I will turn it back to you.
Thank you so much for those words. Next, we're going to be moving on to an HB 1159 FRQ section. So essentially, we're going to have a panel where they're going to address some of the most frequent questions about this new bill. On the panel, we have our lovely dean, Dr. Watson, and we also have Dr. Roberts, the director of the Center for Academic Success, as well as Ms. Temecia, director of the Office of Clinical Placement. And I will pass it open. The panel will be open, and I will throw the first question, which is open to anyone on the panel. What exactly is HB 1159?
Dr. Watson, do you want to take that question? You're on mute.
I was trying to find my unmute button. So thank you so much. So House Bill 1159 is a rule of governance that we as a teacher preparation program have to follow. And one of the things that you never even know about or see it, you don't have to, because it really doesn't impact you on a granular level. But as a college and as an administration and your faculty, we wanted to really delve into what it is and what it means to you. You all have heard us talk about the general knowledge test, correct? You've heard it, you've had it drilled, it is in your class. The things that they want you to do is pass the entire Florida teacher certification exam, and the GKT is one area of that exam. Does that answer the question?
I believe so.
Okay.
On to the next question we have is, how does the House Bill 1159 impact me as a COE student? Again, open to anyone on the panel.
Well, I'll address that with the slide that's up. It affects you because you can be admitted sooner, but there are still some real benefits to passing the test of general knowledge. So just because you don't have to pass it until you graduate doesn't mean you shouldn't pass it as soon as you can, because some scholarships still require it. A good example is the Florida Fund for Minority Teachers. They give you $2,000 a semester in grant money toward your tuition, and they have not waived that requirement to get the scholarship. There are also some exciting internships that we've been working on in partnership with other districts that are going to offer a stipend to student teach. So you'll be paid while you're student teaching. None of those accept applicants who haven't passed all parts of the teacher certification exam. They require you to have passed those by the pre-student teaching deadline. So far, I think they're going to also require a 3.0, although that isn't written in stone yet. Another reason to pass the GKT, by law, you can intern without having passed it. However, we're finding more and more schools won't accept teachers who haven't passed it. So the individual schools are able to say, no, we only want candidates who have at least passed the GKT. Some schools are requiring that you have passed all parts also, not just the schools where you get a stipend, but other schools. And also, if you haven't passed it by the end of your student teaching, you still do graduate, but you don't graduate with a state certification on your diploma. That doesn't mean you can't teach, but that does mean you'll have to then go through the alternative certification track. So there are a lot of benefits to passing it.
Thank you so much for that answer. Following up, just to clarify again, so the following question is, what are some of the benefits of the House Bill 1159? I know we spoke on some of them earlier. If anyone could re-clarify that for the group.
I will share that. One of the benefits for our college and colleges across the state is that there were times when we would have a stopgap in your continuation of the curriculum. So you wouldn't have passed the GKT, and then you would either have to take classes that were not content specific or classes from another school or college to fill in your full-time credit hour needs. Now, the benefit is that we want you to continue progressing as you prepare for the test. So we have built in teacher preparation and test preparation courses for you to take that will prepare you with test taking strategies and content strategies along the way, as well as allow you to take some of your content area needs. Because what we have seen across the state, and this is not just FAMU, it's all of the state university system teacher prep programs, is that our candidates can still do successfully well on their content area. So you do well on your content area, and things look well for you because you're learning the content, you understand the pedagogy. Is that GKT that was a stopgap. So the biggest benefit, Kiosie, is that it helps you, this bill change will allow the candidate to continue to progress through as they work on the skills to be successful on the GKT.
Thank you again. I really think that clarified the benefits question. Another reclarification question is, how does the HB 1159 impact scholarship consideration for the COE? I know we spoke about that earlier and Dr. Roberts talked about it a little bit, but if you can further clarify, that would be very appreciated.
Well, and some of the scholarships, like the FFMT, has come down pretty solid that they are still going to require it. Some of the other scholarships, it depends on the wording of the way that the donor gave the money. So if the donor just said you have to be admitted to the College of Ed, then once you're admitted, you can qualify for the scholarship. If the donor said you have to pass the GKT, then you have to pass the GKT, because the people who give the money have the right to say how the money is to be spent. So a lot of that we don't have a lot of control over. We have to review all our scholarships now to kind of sort which ones fall into each category. And since this bill just passed, it's just going into effect this fall semester, we haven't had a chance to complete doing that yet.
And just to piggyback on that, Dr. Roberts, another benefit that Dr. Roberts mentioned is the admission into the College of Ed. One of the things that we used to have in place before HB 1159 was amended is that the GK was required for admission. So that kind of allows you all to have more of a benefit. Just yesterday, we received news as a college that we are the recipients of the Paula Sane Endowment Scholarship for Elementary Education Majors. The endowment is for $25,000 and is for any junior or senior with a 3.0 or above that has been admitted to the College of Education. And it says, and I'll read it, this scholarship is to be awarded to one or more undergraduate, junior, or senior class standing student who is committed to enhancing the academic performance of African American children and marginalized populations. So that's just one of our 4.5 million in endowed scholarships that you now are eligible to apply for.
Thank you so much for that information. Follow-up question is if we can speak on the new class of EDF 1005. We really appreciate it. Some clarification on that would help out.
Well, in order to answer that question well, we really have to talk about people who already took EDF 1005, because some people took it before we were doing interviews during EDF 1005. So we're trying to give all those people the opportunity to be interviewed this semester. We divided them into two groups, those who had already completed all the other admission requirements. We did some of those interviews last Friday. We're doing some of those interviews tomorrow. I believe there's still 8 spots open to interview. Then in October, we're going to do another group of people. They're people who took EDF 1005 already and who haven't completed all their requirements yet. So then every semester I'll check to see if their requirements have been completed, but they'll already have the interview out of the way. The people who are in EDF 1005 right now will be interviewed in November, and we'll send invitations out to the appropriate people prior to these dates so you can sign up for a time slot. If you think that I missed you and you should have been on that list, just email me, and I'm sure Dr. Shakir will put my email address in the chat, and I can check and see if there's a reason, and it may be I just missed you, and then we want to add you to the next group of interviews that are available. If you haven't taken EDF 1005 yet, you don't need to worry about anything. We recommend that you take it the first semester of your sophomore year. Now, of course, for transfer students, that doesn't apply because you're coming in as a junior maybe. But then if you didn't take it at your transfer institution, we want you to take it the first semester that you're here. And you will be interviewed the last month of whatever semester you're taking it. So that'll just become automatic from now on. So this semester, we're having to catch up with people who already took EDF 1005 and people who are currently taking it. And then going forward, just as you take EDF 1005, you'll be interviewed. For those transfers who do come in with EDF 1005 already taken, we'll include you in the next interview date and you'll get an invitation to sign up for an interview then.
Thank you, Dr. Harvey, for that insight.
This semester is going to be a little hectic because we're playing catch up because of the new bill. But going forward, all the other semesters will just have a standard interview time, get everybody signed up and interview them.
Thank you so much. Next question we have is about student internships. To the next slide. The further question is, like we spoke about earlier, what are the impacts that admissions have on student teaching and the requirements for spring 2022?
All right, good afternoon, everyone. The impact that this new House bill has on student teaching, it does not affect student teaching in any way. Students will still be able to go out and complete an internship as they have before. The only difference is you do not have to have passed the GK exam prior to going out to student teaching. Potential spring 2022 student interns have been notified via email of the due date for the pre-student teaching application, and they have received that application. Those students will also need to contact Dr. Roberts and schedule an appointment time to receive their academic advisement report. Once your pre-application has been submitted, it will go to the appropriate department chair, who will then review to make sure that you have all the course requirements needed to enter for the spring semester. Once I receive approval on that, students will be notified via email individually that their pre-application has been approved, and I will send them instructions on completing the full student teaching application. And that has a deadline and must be submitted by October 15th. Additionally, during the month of November, for those students who are eligible for spring 2022 internship and have been notified, we will have a pre-student teaching seminar that is mandatory for all interns to attend. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Shelton. Now we're going to open the floor up for questions. I believe you had some in the chat. For any one of the students have questions of what we talked about.
Yeah, so this is Dr. Shakir. We had a question from Faith. Faith said, will we still receive an email for the interview if we have not taken the GK by that time? I'm assuming Faith means the interview dates, Faith, is that correct? You could put it in the chat or come off mute.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Yes, you will receive an email because now the GKT is not a requirement. So you'll receive an email before the date for the interviews. If you haven't received an email and you believe that you fit into that group who should be interviewed, say in October, then go ahead and email me and I'll, you know, maybe, especially some of the transfers, I might have missed you because I might have not known you already took EDF 1005. So I have a list that I'm working from, but if I miss anybody, if I missed anybody in the September interviews that we're finishing up tomorrow, then we'll interview you in October. If I missed you in October, then we'll interview you in November. So everybody should be interviewed who has taken EDF 1005 by the end of this semester, whether or not you've taken the GK.
Okay, thank you.
And I did want to acknowledge our health and leisure fitness undergraduate students who may be on the forum and you're thinking, well, how does this apply to me? It actually doesn't. However, we are so happy that you're here. You are in a degree that does not require certification. And so your process looks different. Your internship process is different. However, we are very happy that you're here. Now, that being said, if you're a physical education major, it absolutely impacts you. This is for our teacher prep, teacher education majors that their degrees lead directly to certification. So just wanted to clarify that and acknowledge those in the room.
Okay, again, any other further questions? You can either type them into the chat or unmute yourself.
I have a quick question. I'm a senior. This is my last semester taking classes and I passed my GKT. I haven't passed my professional or subject area. However, I'm wondering if am I still eligible to student teach spring? And if so, who do I need to get in contact with?
You will need to get in touch with your department chair and notify them that you have not been, you were not on the list to receive the pre-application, and they will advise you further and give you further instructions on that piece to make sure you meet those minimum requirements.
And we will have breakout rooms shortly with your department chairs, Destiny, so you'll be able to do that in that space. We have another question from Jaria. Where do we find the application? Jaria, I need a little more clarification. Are you saying the pre-application for internship? Is that similar to Destiny's question?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So Ms. Shelton just responded that you would have to get that notification from your department chair, which is Dr. Pitts Bannister. Kenyatta says, where can we find available scholarships on the COE page? She cannot find them. We can always make sure to email you those as well, but there's a link on the COE page specifically for scholarships. The university is in the process of revamping all websites, so that may be why you can't see them, but you can always email Ms. Bryant as she handles all the content for the website, and she can let you know those listings of additional scholarships like the Gore. There's some other scholarships that are offered here in the College of Education as well. If there are no other questions, we want to turn now. Thank you to all our panelists. We will also provide these slides that have the facts about 1159 and how it affects you all in the chat. And then we're going to move now to having breakout rooms. If you registered, we did pre-assign you based on your major. So if you're elementary education, you will be in a breakout room with your department chair.
Communication and whether or not our students are able to communicate via email with COE info.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Newell. Any other students have any questions from elementary ed? Dean Watson said the portal will reopen. Deadline will be April 1st, 2022 for those additional scholarships that Dr. Newell just referenced.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Dr. Newell. Dr. Pitts Bannister, Chair for Secondary Education and Foundations. Any of the students in secondary have any questions you want to ask Dr. Pitts Bannister? You can either drop them in the chat, and this will be English ed, biology, chemistry, math ed, music ed, history, poli-sci. I know Destiny asked some questions earlier. Any other questions or comments for secondary education?
Math education and English education.
Oh, I'm sorry, I left off math. How can I live off the best major?
No, I just want to say to my students, in addition to all of the scholarships that were listed or mentioned, we also have the Teach Grant. I am in charge of identifying students and also submitting names to financial aid. I will review the requirements for the 2021-22 list of high need areas. And I have an idea thus far, but I will definitely generate those names, look at GPAs that are required. GPA is 3.2, and also is on track for graduating and teaching in the particular high need fields. So I just wanted to add that, but if there are questions, please drop them in the chat, or you may, I don't want to say come off mute, that might be a bit chaotic, but somehow we can organize some way that I can answer questions.
All right, Destiny,
I see
you have your hand.
Destiny has her hand up.
Okay, so I already asked my question about the student teaching. However, I was also wondering, is it possible for me to be certified, even though my degree is for history, secondary education? Can I do can I take the English not GK, but can I do the English subject area test as well?
Do you want me to answer that one? Florida has a really unique system for certification, and I've taught in many states and at universities in different states. In Florida, once you receive your initial certification, so in your case, the history certification, you apply for that, get certified. Then any subject area exam that you take, you add that certification. I sat in a meeting once at the State Department where the guy next to me had like 25 certifications. Oh my gosh, is this guy just a total geek and nerd, or what's up with this? And so during break, I talked to him about it, and he did homebound education. And instead of sending in a history teacher, an English teacher, a math teacher, he figured if he could be certified in those different areas, he could just go in and for a secondary student, just teach them all the things they needed. And that way they'd only have one teacher instead of, 5 or 7 or whatever coming in. So in Florida, it's very easy to add a second certification once you've already completed the certification process the first time.
Thank you. Any other questions for secondary before we move to hyper with Dr. Price, Associate Dean Dr. Price, and then also co-chair Dr. Fleming? Okay, so hyper, I know that's Kaylin Roll. Some of our other new students, you might have questions for Dr. Price or either Dr. Fleming.
Also, welcome everyone. I know Kendall's here too, and Kaylin, I'm glad you guys can make it. So yeah, we are coming up on Monday. We'll be meeting with our spring interns who will be participating in their internship for graduation in the Health, Leisure, Fitness Studies program. In the coming weeks too, we'll also have our first Hyper Club meeting. And so we'll be sharing more information along with some events that will be happening. Of course, they're for our Hyper students, but open to other students who'd like to participate as well. So you can be on the lookout for that. There's also, we do have a couple scholarship too for our Hyper students. So the Althea Gibson is one. Another one is the Hansel Took scholarship too. So once that portal opens, definitely look out for those 2 scholarships. And Dr. Price?
No, I'm just agreeing with Dr. Fleming. There's some additional scholarships, and we're leaving money on the table. So we're going to stress this go around. What we really want people to apply and receive the scholarship money. And good advising. We look forward to seeing you walk across the stage.
Thank you. Do we have any other comments from Hyper students? Any questions that you have for Dr. Price, Associate Dean, and Co-Chair Dr. Fleming? Any other questions? Okay, so just a few reminders for this week. Coming, we have a few GK boot camps with Brandon O'Pallaby, who was recently actually named as the Forbes Up and Coming 1000. So we're excited to have Brandon and his team with us again from Give You a Dream. And so they will be doing a GK STEM workshop embedded in Mr. Moise's EDG 1072 courses. The dates are listed here, as well as the information for the Zoom meeting ID on the 20th and the 21st. And then we will also have Dr. Crystal Moore Clemens for those of you who have already taken and passed the GK and are preparing for the professional education exam. We will have her on the 21st as well, giving another workshop for the professional ed. And so those are our upcoming workshops. And then immediately following this, for those of you who are student teachers, you already know that we have our third installment for you all, and also faculty and staff who would like to participate as well in our effective strategies feedback, actionable feedback workshop. We'll be completing that final session for the fall as soon as we leave here. So we'll do the door prizes really quickly. And then for those of us who are going to the 3 o'clock workshop, we'll be moving over there. But definitely thank you again, Kiosie, for hosting. Don't leave yet. If you are registered, we want to go on and try to get you your door prizes. So hold on just a second. And we have different prizes.
That is a beautiful wheel.
Santeria, are you still here? I know you registered.
Goes into the slides and getting everything together. Although we had some technical difficulties, you guys put on a lot of hard work. Another shout out to our panelists and speakers tonight. I really do appreciate you guys all coming out to this forum and speaking to College of Education and kind of getting to highlight all our successes. And I think that is it for this forum. Thank you guys all for coming out.